All right. How everybody doing tonight? We in here. Um, like I always do before we get started, I want you to hit that thumbs up. I want you to hit that subscribe button. Um, hit the thumbs up, subscribe button. Subscribe to the channel for sure. I try to get in here as much as possible. It's a lot going on, always a lot going on in this ADOS life. Um, because that's what we've been built in. We we came into a war. We're living in a war. A lot might think this ain't a war. It's a war. It's different strategies to wars, different types of wars. So one thing I always like to point out, just because you don't see it, because you refuse to see truth, and you rather try to fantasize about what's positive. But maybe when it's your family on the street, homeless, with no shelter over them, maybe then you will understand that you're in a war. Um, Something I want to point out before I even get into the show. I've been noticing, like I said, it's something I always do. I go through different social media sites. I listen to different conversations, and I always pick apart the conversation because I think that's the true meaning of critical thinking skills and being a free thinker. Free thinking means you don't allow religion, you don't allow your sexual content, none of that to fog your memory, your brain of being free, meaning being able to freely watch something, process it, and put biases to the side and let the data, let your history, let your lineage, let the policies give you the facts. Trust indeed, it ain't many organizations that work that way, but ADOS work that way because we move by that data. We move by that history. We move by the effect of those policies. And all of you to say, I don't care about policies, that's fine. Policies don't really give a damn about you caring about them. They will come down on you all the same. It don't matter if you don't care about voting. It don't matter if you don't think about it. But when you go down there and try to get a job and they tell you can't get the job because they're going to give it to someone else that they see more fitted for, then maybe you will understand the power of government versus people running a mouth talking tough but don't understand the institution of the government has the power. I don't care what people sit around and say out their mouth. You're at the mercy of this institution, and this institution is ran by a government that's backed by a military. So for all the tough talk, take that out the window. What I'm here to do and what ADOS is here to do is say we can win this battle, but we first must transform into critical thinkers. Critical thinkers. Because thinkers are going to be the one that win this battle, as all battles have been won by thinkers and by dedicated people on the field that understood the clear vision to the victory. Now, one thing I want to touch on when naming the show tonight, understanding the art of war. It's a lot of people out there that say, I understand the art of war, but do you really? Because all through history, there have been wars, whether it were tribal wars, nation wars, group wars. All through history, there have been wars. Nothing unique about a war, but it's a couple of unique elements within a war. The first element is you have one group that knows they different from the group that they are parting from or that they have a conflict with. Once again, understanding the art of war. I say it again. It's going to be two groups. One group know who they are, and they have a conflict with another group. One group impose the brain down their way of life on the other group. The other group don't want it. Whatever that may be, it's going to be a fight, ultimately, that settles this dispute. Now, you may be wondering why am I saying this, because people claim they understand war. Well, in war, people within the midst of these groups, whether it be tribal, whether it be nation, they know who they are and who they're not. I say it again. They know who they are and who they're not. And The person leading them in war has gave them a clear path to victory in this war. And those people that stand with that person understands and agree and aligns with that person. So in the fight for reparations, because that's what we here for, reparation. So if you can say, I don't think reparations is going to happen, I don't believe in it, you're not in this war. You actually is on the side of the enemy, whether you know it or not. Whether you know it or understand it or not. If you don't believe in it, you're on the side of white supremacy. So get your butt over there and stop telling me you don't align with your oppressor. You in line with him, so move over there. Understand when you talk to soldiers, soldiers have no problem with identifying their enemy. We don't care about numbers against us or the odds against us. What we do understand is we must fight to get a victory, one way or another. Now, so if you're struggling in this battle, when I say reparation, you don't understand it or you don't agree with it. Like I said, get on the side of white supremacy and stop telling yourself anything else. Now, also within the war, I talked about identity, knowing who you are and who you're not. See, this thing gets complicated when we don't really know how to connect the dots of politics. So we have people within this so-called black group that don't understand their own lineage. And if they do understand it, they don't want to accept it. So that would cause a struggle of identity. What do I mean? I've listened to black people state, I'm not ADOS. My family told me I didn't come from slavery. That's all dandy and fine if your family told you that. But you say you're a part of the native, the indigenous. And before I say that, let me say this. That's another thing we get thrown into this ADOS fight for reparation. Who was the native blacks? It was some native blacks over here before the slave ships came. This is very true, and I will say this a million times. It doesn't matter though. Because at the end of the day, the ones that traveled here before the slave ship became enslaved. But also the ones that came in on the slave ships came enslaved. They both end up in chains and shackles and in slavery. They were slaves. So I don't know what argument you are holding up about how they arrived here. Because when they started enslaving them, they picked the group that was going to be the slaves and they enforced and imposed their way upon them. Once again, they enforced and imposed their way upon them. Whether they traveled here free or whether they came on a ship. The same destination, same outcome. Just different ways of traveling. So stop telling me that you one of the natives. It don't matter if you one of the natives. It was over 6 million slaves on this land. And you can believe at that time, of course, that number increased throughout the years due to them breeding black women like animals and using black men as such too. So, as say right here, as I like to say, denial is hell of a drug. Denial who you are and our financial circumstance. This is very true. Because this is what we do. We deny who we are. Because it is clear that we are bottom group. It is clear as you ride the roads in your little car, as you struggle to pay that $3 and some change a gallon gas when you pull up to the pump. Know that that may be a critical sign that you are ADOS. Because it's a cost to be an ADOS. I've heard people say, I'm Native American. That the black people or the natives was the Indians on this piece of land. Hey, understand this for all you blacks that say you native. Show me your house on that reservation. Show me your free house on that reservation. You said you the Indian. I need to see the benefits from you being the Indian. Other than you telling yourself you the Indian because you done made it in your mind. You don't want to be tied to this bottom group neither. And the truth is, you's a coward. I said again, you's a coward. Point blank, period. Because if you ain't receiving no benefits from you claiming to be an Indian from any of these tribes, I don't care which one you pick. If you ain't receiving benefits, joke's on you, Jack. I said again, joke's on you, Jack. No benefits? Listen, for every native person child is born on that reservation, do you think they got to go to somebody and get an explanation about their benefits? No, it's automatic. I say it again for all the people in the back. Those kids automatic get their benefits. Now, if you sitting over there got to jump through hoops, go around, look for documents and papers to try to get your benefits, Negro, more than likely you ain't Indian. I say it again, Negro. More than likely, if you got to jump through hoops, swallow fire, swim through the canal full of gators, more than likely you ain't Indian, Negro. And for all the ones that think that those Native Americans cared about you, you wouldn't have to jump through those hoops to reap that benefit. Because they owned you too. I know. It's a hard pill to swallow when you thought the friend was a foe, but the foe was the enemy. And you didn't know. You read all the books. You done all the research. But the harsh reality still remains the same. You ADOS. Period. I don't care where you went to school at or didn't go. Care if you went to the penitentiary. Maybe when you was in the penitentiary, you became a 5%, a God body. Maybe you became a Muslim. It didn't matter. When you stepped on the streets, you were still in the lineage and the blood being a descendant of slavery. An American descendant of slavery. Hey, right here. The 5 civilized tribes are still discriminating from the black families they kicked off the reservations to not share the resources they received. How many of you blacks claiming to be part of these Native Americans are challenging this? Or you're pushing back or you're kissing butt? Because you ain't built for war and ain't nobody never told you. But I'm here to tell you tonight, ADOS is calling it out. If you choose to tuck your tail and run, run. Don't stand in front of me and try to deny me. I ain't tucking my tail and run. My daddy didn't raise no cowards. My daddy favored saying, well, it's going to be me or you. It's going to be me or you. That's all it's going to be. I'm not a coward. See? Because I love my group. I don't punch down on my group. So a lot of y'all do a lot of punching down on your group. It's a lot of blacks working for white supremacy. Like the ones that say, oh, blacks are owed reparations, but we don't need it. So are you going to pay this $3.30 a gallon gas for those people that don't need it? Idiot. If you scared of white folks, get behind the ones that ain't and shut up. Be quiet as a mouse. Because we ain't scared. See, a lot of you scared to accept truth. It's too terrifying for you. You don't know how to unravel it. You try to find all the mysticals that the daggone unicorn can give you. You're looking for the unicorn, ain't you? What colors you like? Purple, pink, which ones? See, I don't live in that world. I live in real life. Because I ain't a coward. It's a lot of fake love. A lot of fake leadership. Punching down, calling it tough love. Exactly. That's hammer on nail. A lot of people punching down because it's easy to punch down, hard to punch up. But now that ADOS here, and those that know they are ADOS, we understand who we come from. We understand some of that blood of Nate Turner runs in me as well as you. We understand that blood of Fannie Lou Hamer. Some of that blood runs in me and runs in you. We understand my daddy. Some might know him as Little Boy, some call him Wine. That blood runs in me and runs in my family too. But if you take this away from them and strip them of who they are, they just like little dandelions. No teeth, no bite. But once you know who you are, you got the teeth and the bite to fight things that need to be fixed, not run away from them, not fantasize about them. Like I said before, if you walk around here claiming to be a Native American or an Indian, you better ask yourself, where is that solidarity due to the resources to be in that? Because if you can't eat off the plate of the resources, who the dummy? It's only one. It's only one. See, like I said before, when their kids are born, they ain't got to do no paperwork. They build their house on that reservation. They live tax-free. They live, once again, tax-free. Not having to vote. No need. We're going to get everything we want. We're a sovereign nation. If you don't fall under those, and if you try to fall under them and they tell you you ain't eating off the plate, might be another factor that you ain't them. See, we got to understand through history, we want to point out like it was some type of superheroes then. Like man ain't always been man. I don't care how far you go back. 80,000 years, 60,000. Man has always been man. Woman has always been woman. Period. Power has always been a thing that people wanted to attain. Period. And in the midst of that fight for power, people always have used somebody to do the heavy lifting. Stop playing. Pharaoh ain't no different than any other powerful leader. He had people that he stepped on, that he forced to build those pyramids, that he forced in war. I know that hurts your feelings. I know you got his picture up. You got his picture up. You thought he was a great hero, but you never stopped to do basic thinking. Understand when you building knowledge, it's one thing about building knowledge. Never forget it. No different than building a building. When you build a building, you start with a cornerstone. That's exactly how history works. You start with the basic understanding of human nature. That's all. Understand human nature. It ain't never been no perfect humans. It's been good and bad ones. And it didn't matter if all of them put the same pigment. It didn't matter. It was still good ones and bad ones. That's a human nature. No matter how far you go back in time, you're going to constantly find that. Good and bad. Intentions. Wars. All the time. What we must collect from that information is how it connects to current time. See, we ain't dealing with nothing no different than the billions and trillions that came before us. We just think we are. We just think we are. Because we collect information a lot of times and don't stay connected to the basis. So when we start collecting that information, it all starts to fall apart because you forgot the foundation, the basis of human nature. ADOS is a nationality. The debt is due to us. That's exactly right. The debt is due to us. Period. So, as I've said, to win a war, you got to have an identity. Who are you fighting for? Because believe this, like it or not, either you fight with somebody or against somebody. You don't have a choice in the matter. It's all about what comes out of your mouth and how you move. Just know what comes out of your mouth. You state who you're against. And you also state who you're for. I am for ADOS. I am for group uplift, not individuals. Period. Either my group eat off the plate or I don't eat off the plate. And if that's too extreme for you, you may be the problem in our group and you should move along too. Now, I just had to get that off my chest. We're going to get into the show. Cause the show tonight is going to once again pin the tail on the donkey. If these things hit you, if these policies that Joe Biden done passed trick you, might be very close to you being ADOS. Trust indeed. First, we're going to start with the bill that Joe Biden wrote. He wrote a bill in executive order. I've said it before and I'll say it again. If they can trick you, they can trap you. Point blank, period. I'm going to share my screen. We're going to scan through this bill. I'm not going to read the whole thing. We're going to scan through it and show you how the game is played. Because there's always a game being played. You just got to figure out what the angle is. Here we go. Now, what we're looking at right here. Fact sheet. The Biden and Harris administration advanced equality and opportunity for black people and communities across the country. Now, right out the gate, they came with the game. Right in the title, they came with the game. Now here at ADOS, you heard us constantly talk about Pacifics, being Pacific with policies. Meaning, you can't take policy and say it for a certain group and then at the same time make it for everybody. But when you write policies for other groups, it's specific. Meaning it sticks to just that group. Right here, right in the title, right out the gate, a smoking gun right out the gate. It said, I'll read it again for the ones that don't connect the dots in this conversation. It says the Biden and Harris administration advances equality and opportunity for black people and communities across the country. So hold up. How we got an executive order that says it's for blacks and then for communities? So basically, this is for everybody. Any and everybody in a community, this executive order was for them. It ain't specific just to our group. Communities across the country. It's for everybody across the country. But just a couple of months ago, when he wrote the executive order for the Asians, it won't this kind of language in it. If you ain't had a chance to read the executive order he wrote for the Asians, go read it and compare it to this one. That's a simple way to spot the snake in the grass. Compare the reading of an executive order. And you will see that when he put black in it, throughout this whole executive order, you're going to constantly see this man go from everybody to blacks. And even going as far as to say he gave blacks certain things when he gave it to everybody, like the $1,400, the $600 that every American received if they didn't make over $99,000. Anybody that made under $90,000 got this money. But he acting like this executive order is specific to ADOS people. We're gonna stroll down through this order. Let's get down. So we see right here, Biden signs into law the Historical American Rescue Plan and implements robust regulator reform. President Biden has helped black Americans own and stay in homes. The APR has extended access to wealth creation through small business ownership, black communities, and President Biden has directed agenda to use federal contracting authority to increase the percent from small disadvantaged businesses, including black-owned businesses, by 50%. Now see, here's what I'm saying. Understand what just happened in this 3 called Molly. He took the card he showed you and stuck it in his pocket, basically. It's nowhere in hell you're gonna find it. I say it again. Joe Biden played 3 called Molly and took the card he showed you and stuck it in his pocket. You ain't gonna find it. See, he says right here, this APR has extended access to wealth creation through small business ownership in black communities. President Biden has direct agendas to federal contract authority to increase its perception for small disadvantaged businesses. Okay, for small disadvantage. See, here's the card, the disadvantage. Tell me, am I right or wrong? Can't anybody be at a disadvantage? I say it again. Can't anyone be at a disadvantage at any given time? See, anybody can be at a disadvantage, but still having not endured what ADOS Native Black Americans have endured for 401 years. What I mean, you could have just got here 2 years ago and be at a disadvantage right now. And you ain't had nothing to do with slavery, Jim Crow, convict leasing. You ain't had nothing to do with that. But you could have got here 2 years ago, and your small business could be at a disadvantage. Language must be specific. Because if they can trick you, they can trap you. And another thing in this thing, that American Rescue Plan already been implemented. When you write executive orders, it's new details you're going to do right now for a group of people, not the things you have done for everybody. This man wrote an executive order on actions he already have taken that benefited everybody. And the truth is that small business, most of that money, ADOS people didn't even receive it. Because most of that money, most of these black ADOS businesses won't really seen as business the way it was set up. I think you had to have at least 500 employees or at least 100 to be considered a small business. And the data show us that most ADOS business only got one person, one employee. So a lot of them had to cut corners to try to get this money. How many of them came and told you, though, that they had to cut a corner to get this money? How many of them told you they didn't even get it? See, our pride allows us not to have the right conversation when we sit in a circle of ADOS people. I get on that before the end of the show. Because me and one of my buddies, we was talking. Actually, Leroy, we was talking. And he said the reason a lot of times we don't know what's going on with one another because our pride. We don't tell the real story sitting in the group so that we can get help on the problem we going with. So what we do, we keep it in, act like we know what we doing. See, to fix a problem, a lot of times you got to have a real conversation. But if you're going to sit in the conversation and lie about what you did and didn't receive, it's going to be hard for us to help you. I'm just telling you, don't let your pride play you because the 3 chord Molly could get you. And this is crap. That's exactly right. So he done played 3 chord Molly. He done pulled the card he showed you and stuck it in his pocket. And looked like the hands was quicker than the eye. This is $100 billion for all business, not specifically for black businesses. This is very true. We see. I'm gonna go down. I want to see another one. I'm gonna go down this thing because I want to. Here we go. He says right here, helping black Americans stay in their homes. President Biden Home Rescue Plan has helped Americans stay in their home by providing emergency aid to cover back rent. In addition, APR helps struggling homeowners catch up with their mortgage payments, utilities costs through the Homeowner Assistance Fund. And it provides additional funding for families and individuals who are recovering from our at-risk homeless. Man. This is just like, I know a lot of ADOS black people understand the pimp hand in the game when it comes to blacks in the street, but do you understand Biden pimp hand? See, because if you don't understand white politician pimp hands like Biden, you don't understand real pimping. You don't really understand real pimping. This is real pimping right here. This is real pimping. This man talking about when 1 in 4 ADOS black people are at risk of being put out. I'm going to also read you an article after I'm done with this that's going to get into the fact not only being put out, it's landlords that ain't taking that money from this rescue plan act. They saying they don't want it. They want you out. Meaning you got, see, we talk about the wealth that white people got. Because you'll listen to a lot of your black leadership, a lot of the black folks y'all idolize and fall in love with. They talk one-sided about wealth in America. What do I mean when I say they talk one-sided about wealth in America? What you'll get one of these jigaboo niggas to do, they'll start talking about black people having a $2 trillion economy as if we ain't part of a bigger economy. An economy where white people got $115 trillion. Oh, the jigaboo didn't want to tell you that. The old jigaboo Negro didn't want to tell you that. See, he didn't want to tell you that. See, we got to know when we got somebody that's pimping us. You can't talk about the $2 trillion that blacks have without talking about the $115 trillion the white families have. That wealth is also an economy within our economy. You can't separate from your economy. The jigaboo didn't tell you that. Well, let me tell you. You can't separate from that $115 trillion that whites got. That ain't how economy systems work. Economics don't work that way. Tell them to go back to school and learn about how economists work. It don't work that way. See, what we got to come to terms with is what the truth is. You got to talk about the wealth whites got. And for all you out there that don't understand economics, let me break it down in a simple way. I'm gonna break it down as simple as I can get. If you walk in the grocery store and a loaf of bread done went up to $5 and you complaining because it's $5, or your grocery store bill done went up, that's white folks' wealth. Because you in direct contact with white folks' wealth. So when I say the $115 trillion, that means you complaining about high prices everywhere. You don't have the wealth and they do. And they controlling the high rising of the prices. Because they got the wealth. So it hurts you. And all they do is indirectly they complain about it, because complaining is actually a natural human action. It's nothing unusual about complaining, but you got two different kind of complaints going on. You got the ADOS complaint because we don't got the money. And then you got white supremacy complaints that has the money, just complaining about it costing them more now. It just costs them more to do what they used to do. It ain't that they don't got the money though. See, we got to understand it. The landlord, over 800 paying units. How many of y'all know any black ADOS investor that got over 1,000 units that people renting here in North Carolina? Can somebody in the chat anywhere send me an email where you know ADOS in the whole state of North Carolina got 1,000 units that they renting out, not just renting them out though, but that's denying the rent to the people that's renting from them? I bet you don't nobody know one. See, this is why we got to know who we are in this war. In this political war we set in, we got to know who we are. I got family members that being kicked out right now while I sit on this call and try to reach them and educate them on what's going on around them. but I don't hear nothing but crickets. I don't hear nothing but crickets. Here I am trying to educate them what's going on around them. I don't hear nothing but crickets. Nobody calling back. But they dealing with the very thing that I sit here and talk about. We got to wisen up. We ain't wising up. I'm going to go back to this article because I don't want to keep you long tonight. So I'm going to go down here. It's something else I want to point out. Understand when you write an executive order, you can implement anything you want to implement. In this executive order here, Biden didn't implement nothing that he hadn't already did. And even gave you some numbers that don't add up. He gave data that's lying. I think he just came up with it off top of his head. Because he just feel like blacks don't know enough. And they won't push back. Let me see. I'm strolling down. I want to get down here to this. So, unwavering support for fundamental scarred rights to vote. He did this here. Once again, we already can go vote. So this was nothing. Stop listening to people talking about voting act. Most of these black leadership that keep talking about this voting act, it's because they're trying to get immigrants that don't got IDs to vote. So don't let these black leadership trick you with this voting act. Yes, they do pull stunts in our neighborhood where they might close down something and make it further for our people to get to. But ultimately, these blacks are fighting for voting rights for immigrants. And anybody that been watching my shows know I ain't against immigration, but immigration negatively impact black communities. I mean, black men lose jobs, go to prison. They come here to step on us and take our jobs. Just what they doing, whether they know it or not, all the data shows that. But if you don't understand it, go back and look at some further videos, look at some of Tone and Yvette videos, and they'll explain it too, just as well as I have. He also says here, addressing police misconduct. The president strongly supports the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act. He says he supports it. He is disappointed, though, that legislation hasn't yet reached his desk, and he will not wait to advance meaningful police reform through executive action. Hold up. I'm going to finish reading it because I can't finish reading it. I got to go out of here. See, the man says he can't wait to pull executive orders to support this bill, to implement it. Executive action to implement this bill. This here that he's writing is an executive order. He could have implemented the bill with the stroke of his pen. See what I mean when I say Two-Face? Dang, I feel like I'm in a Batman movie with Two-Face reading this junk. And people, before this election, I had black people on Facebook, all social media sites, telling me to shut up. I didn't know what I was talking about. Joe Biden, a good man. He was with Obama. And I'm telling them, don't get a man your vote. He a piece of crap. He ain't never did nothing to help black folks. But now I don't hear nothing from these people telling me to vote for Joe Biden. Good thing I didn't vote for him. I stood my ground. I know who I am in this war. I voted down ballot. See? Won't give this man. I ain't giving Trump or this clown my vote. I stood my ground. I stood for something. A lot of y'all fold for everything. But when it come time to talk about this crap like this, nowhere to be found. Oh, I know where you're on vacation. Oh, you laying out on the beach. Oh, life is good. Oh, wow. Life good, huh? Life good. Oh, I get you watching that football game. Oh, you watching LeBron. That's what you doing. That's what you doing. But when it comes time for the real conversation, you got your mouth in it, yet you don't connect to the real conversation. Ain't that something? You can't connect to the real conversation when you ain't been engaged. You wait every 4 years to get engaged. Other people be out here the whole entire 4 years watching the data, watching the numbers, watching the policy, seeing the effect of the policy. You can't come in a conversation with somebody that been doing that while you've been on it. You've been riding four-wheelers. You've been watching a football game, giving people 10-point spread. Then when that person come up and tell you something, because he been watching policies and laws being passed, like you been in love with who doing what on that football. See, I'm in love with what these policies look like. Because I know that's where the real money at. It ain't in that football game. I'll say it again. The real money is right here in politics, not in that football game. Now, as he said, he can actually implement it through executive action. This is what I'm saying. See, he was writing an executive order. All he had to do was implement it. See, he lied right to your face. A lot of y'all didn't catch that. You thought this was something good. The man writing an executive order while telling you within executive order, he can't wait till he hit his death so he can write an executive order. If that ain't telling you that this man believe y'all that the black community is the dumbest group in the country, nothing is. And you know how he know you are? Because right here, all those people are talking about football. That's how he know that you one of the dumbest groups in the country. Because with all this backstabbing policies going on and being written in the law, 90% of our group is watching football. That's how he knows you're one of the dumbest groups in the country. He know it. He's writing an executive order and telling you he can't write the right one to implement a bill while writing an executive order. If we don't understand, hey, just like, why? Listen, because he done tricked us for 50 years. Listen, Obama put him on his coattail. He tricked us for 50 years while writing crime bills that led to states being cargo states with black men bodies. I say it again. Biden wrote crime bills that led to states being cargo states full of black ADOS men bodies. And then we can't get nothing out of these Negroes that was on Facebook, social media, everywhere. Talking about vote Biden and Kamala Harris. And then look out. Hey, if he could trick you, he could trap you. And you've been trapped, like it or not. See, when a man started spitting in your face and you try to say he ain't spitting in your face, it's because you've been tricked. The Justice Department is directly under him. Directly under him. Anything Biden wanted to do in this executive order, he could have done. He did what he wanted to do. Tell you a bunch of lies. Because he know you ain't paying attention to the real deal, because you're paying attention, as the man says. All those people are talking about football. If you ask them, who are they local council members? Who is their local commissioner? They wouldn't have a clue. But if you ask them for one of those players how many yards he got yesterday, he could tell you. And somehow you think the person that can do that somehow knows more than the person that ain't doing it. We playing games. So to sum this executive order up, it was trash. It was trickery. That's what it was. People saying things like vote like your life depends on it. Was a joke. D.L. Hughley. D.L. Hughley telling black folks to vote like their life depended on it. Now I can't hear a sound from him when this bullcrap executive order came out. He ain't saying no word. But he done tricked millions of blacks to go cast their vote for Joe Biden. Jim Crow Joe, who you wanted us to vote for, D.L. Hughley. Where you at, D.L.? I don't hear you talking no more. You ain't got nothing to say? Oh, you gonna wait 4 years to try to come out and talk as if you been keeping up. See, we got to get the truth here. If we can't get the truth, we can't win this victory. So I got to give you truth. So, yeah, the executive order was crap. Hands down. It was one of the tricks to trap you. Full of nothing. Let none of the blacks that, I don't care if they is in college, some of them, they can't connect the dots neither. They can't connect the dots neither. And DL is a coon. For all of you don't think so, ask him why he ain't talking now. With all this stuff Joe Biden is doing, he ain't saying a word. But he made you go out and vote for him. But you couldn't listen to the ADOS, couldn't listen to William Dickens, because William Dickens is a nobody in your eyes, but William Dickens is hammer on nail. Antonio Moore is hammer on nail. Yvette Cornell is hammer on nail. But none of you ain't listening. Because you think D.L. Hughley gonna be your savior. You think you can pick and choose who saved you in the midst of this war. Well, you can't. Because very few gonna step up to the plate to fight in this war. Because most of you want this. Most of you just want this. All those people talking about football now. Talking about football now. Football season. I don't know why William's still talking about politics. Why is William still talking about politics? Because my man, my pick, he got 100 yards yesterday. And William don't know nothing about that. I'm going to tell you right now. When that TV go off because you can't afford one, because that cable bill going to cripple you. When all these things we ain't paying attention to come crumbling down on you, don't say somebody didn't try to warn you. And by me saying that, let me share this stream, because they coming. Like I done keep telling you Negroes, white folks got 115 trillion. They don't need your money no more. Stop listening to these coons telling you they need your money in the economy to survive. They got 115 trillion. Your pennies are no longer needed. I say it again. They got 115 trillion. They don't need your pennies. They don't need your pennies. Churches are playing videos promoting Kamala, mixing religion and politics. That's what our black church is doing. They running ads for Kamala through the church. Yet the church ain't stepping up for his own people. ADOS. Tell me what mega church stepped up on any of the police killing. Tell me. But right now they running Kamala Harris commercial. While Joe Biden writing executive orders that does nothing for the ADOS black community. Hey, I'm just calling the truth. Don't be mad at me because you voted for it. Oh, I forgot. You got to go get your hair and nails done, don't you? Man, ain't it something? Pure clowns. Our people. Pure clowns. This is what our church is doing. Anybody holding the fight of these churches? Tell them why, ask them why they doing it. Because they getting the bag. These churches are getting the bag to mix religion and politics. While telling you, as an ADOS person sitting in the church, putting your money in the tithe basket, that they ain't going to do no social justice work because we diversity now. We diverse. We diverse, William. We don't deal in social justice anymore. We diverse. Here's the tithe basket. Put your money in, though. Won't be getting my money. I bet you that. I'm going to share the screen telling you what this 115 trillion look like when you come in contact with it. Not just at the gas pump, not just in the grocery store, but when you come in contact with it, when you paying your rent. Here we go right here. Hold on. Let me share this. Because I know some of you still out there thinking they need this money too. Here we go. This right in Wake County. No more rentals. HOA ruling to force 180 families from Raleigh neighborhoods. See, what we got right here. Is a problem to communicate. See, we telling you that they ain't even want your money no more. I get it. NBA Youngboy telling you he got that paper though. Oh, you listen to NBA Youngboy. I mean, I get it. Some of y'all like it. You think he can rap good, huh? But he ain't giving you no data behind that rap because he don't know shit. He don't know shit. See? He leading you to your own economic genocide and don't even know it. Yeah. He leading you to your See, when you're in a society where you was the slaves, you the bottom, you come from them slaves, and then it made you a permanent bottom caste. Well, when the other group that made you the bottom caste build so much wealth, they finally expose their racism in different ways. And the way they expose it is this: I don't need your money anymore. And it feels good to know that now you can't boycott me. You can, but it doesn't matter. I'll put out some lame article saying I am sorry. I'm so sorry for calling you nigger. I'm sorry for making the toboggan with the black face. I'm sorry. But I don't need your business. I'll say anything just to look good. But I don't need your money or your business. And for all of y'all that say, oh, they gotta have money, their group got the money. Their group got the money. Like I told you, 115 trillion. Boycott, listen to these black people that's still telling you to do things from 1960. Don't buy no gas. Don't buy no gas. Because they don't even understand most black people riding off $10 worth of gas. They ain't getting but 10. They ain't getting but 10. How they ain't gonna go to the pump tomorrow when they gotta go to work? They ain't got the $10 worth of gas. What's wrong with y'all idiots? Y'all don't even know what's going on either, do you? Telling black folks can't afford to put the $10 for gas in their car, not to get no gas. We're gonna boycott the gas. We're gonna boycott the gas. All I'm saying, people, it's time to wake up. It's time. It's time to stop falling for tricks or ideals that worked 60 years, 61 years ago. It don't work anymore. I'm sorry that you ain't engaged your community for 61 years and you don't know what done happened. I'm sorry. I hate to wake you up to the bad news. Don't shop at Walmart next Tuesday. Them the tricks there, baby. Don't shop at Walmart. Listen, let me tell you this. Walmart don't need your money. The gas station don't need it. The jewelry store don't need it. You don't got a group that got none. You come from a wealthless group. They telling you this. When you see stuff like this, no more rental, HOA ruling to enforce, think about how many HOAs it is. This is just the beginning of what they're gonna do. And for all the ones out there, I know I got some blacks out there, and I know what they saying. I got a mortgage. I ain't gotta worry about no HOA telling me I gotta go. Well, you're gonna get hit in a different way, Mr. Big Shot. So let me stop sharing this. Just here, hold on just a minute. They gonna hit you in a different way. See, what they gonna do to you ain't gonna be the same thing they do to the person with the HO or the rental. All they gonna do on you though is they gonna raise your taxes to where you can't afford to be there. See, what blacks don't understand is when they raise your taxes, it's just like saying we don't want you here anymore. Because if I raise the taxes on your property to a place that you can't afford to pay them, you gotta go. And this is where the comments saying that's crazy. That promotes gentrification. See, just when you thought you was in the clear because you got a mortgage, you're not in the clear neither. Most of us don't have any wealth. They are calling the situation that ADOS people in economic genocide. And the pandemic has only speeded this process up. So most of us live off a check. And that check, most of us don't get a lot of raises. Just what it is. Because it's a check we live off. We get no inheritance. So what happens when they raise the price of that tax on your lovely, lovely, lovely property? And it gets to a point that you can't afford it. The whites around you will still be bragging. Well, not bragging. They'll still be complaining about, man, the taxes are getting ridiculous. These taxes are so high. But you'll be the one that has to go. They'll still stay. Because that's that 115 trillion they have that you don't got. That's that 115 trillion that they have that you don't got. See, and what you will tell yourself is right here. You have to go somewhere cheaper. But what you will do is you will tell yourself, well, see, that's what you got to do. If they made it's too expensive over there, I'm going to move over here. As if you did that, a freedom of will. As if that won't be enforced out. Because you don't know enough, baby. You were just forced out. See? Because if you didn't want to live over there, you would have never bought a home over there. See? You bought the home over there because that's where you wanted to live. But when things got too high, that was forcing you out. That's being forced out. I know. Hard to accept that you was forced out. Because you just thought you were doing your freedom. You had freedom of will to move where you wanted to move. But you didn't really have freedom because the new black and white sign is who got the money and who don't. And it ain't right up in your face. They do it slicker now. See, in the 60s and the 50s, they did it right in your face. Blacks only, whites only. They ain't care. But they advanced too. The institution of slavery and white supremacy, it is always advancing. And for all y'all to think you done won and done accomplished it, you ain't staying in contact with how white supremacy has advanced. That's why you got to stay engaged. So when they raise those taxes, just like they do the renter, so you got a mortgage and a renter. The renter, they get rid of him, they can say, I just don't want your money, you got to go. Or they can raise that rent. A homeowner, well, not really a homeowner, because the truth is, until you pay that final note on your mortgage, you're really in the same position as a renter. But they raise those taxes on you, and now that property tax is out of your limit of being able to afford it. So now you get put out too. Two different places, same thing happens though. Because they can get you with either one of them. How many of y'all been that smart to think of that? I'm just saying. Or have you been so caught up in your cloud nine with your head in the sky because you have a mortgage that you thought you were better than the people dealing with that in this article? You ain't escaped the rapture. You still at the victim of that 115 trillion. And right here, plus HOAs make you do the repairs and maintenance they want you to get. Exactly. So when some of these people live in these communities got mortgages, they take you and they say, this is the kind of shingles you got to get. This is how your front door need to look. Tell me I'm wrong. Now I'm just a renter though. I'm just a renter. I'm a renter. I rent. You see, once you understand what things moving around you, you no longer have to try to cupcake and tell yourself something else. You understand why you in the position you in. That's what makes you able to battle. See, a lot of y'all don't know the situation in which you in which you live, so it makes it hard for you to battle. It don't make it hard for me to battle, baby. I'm a renter. Yet I know more about home ownership than you. Yet I understand how they put you out. And you don't even understand it. Because your head in the clouds. Get your head out of the cloud. Free that mind. See truth. See? You got, and just like I just said, nope, it wasn't a choice. That was forced. Stop telling yourself it was a choice. The choice was when you moved in it. If you get put out of it, force had to happen. That's what happened to a lot of older retirees when their Social Security and pension can't keep up. Exactly. And instead of amending, that's what happened. They keep it to themselves. As my buddy Leroy said in a conversation one time, you don't get the true conversation in the midst of black people. because our pride be hurt, because we don't know what happened. We thought we done everything right. I mean, we worked on the job for 30 years. We kept it. We saved up money. We pinched pennies. We bled the penny to death. We did everything possible. We added and subtracted to the team. We stayed just about right on the line of the being in the perfect tax place, so we wouldn't have to pay so much taxes. We done it all. Yet I'm still faced with being put out because that money don't increase that you get. That pension ain't gonna get no more. That Social Security ain't gonna get no more. So baby boomers get pushed out. If they don't get pushed out, they die and the child found out the home had been refinanced several times. Oh my God. They getting letters about, they getting letters in the mail saying the house got a lien on it. Because as Leroy said, a real conversation don't happen in the circle of ADOS black people, because we allow people to play us on our pride instead of just saying you can't know everything, but you can free your mind to open your mind to learn new things. Because if somebody else is engaged and you are not engaged, listen to that person. Sit down and go research what they telling you instead of trying to talk against it, full of emptiness. Your whole conversation of pushback is emptiness. Yet you think you understand. Well, we're at the end of another show tonight. I just want to say I appreciate everybody that called, that tuned in and hit the chat. Hopefully I'll be coming next Sunday. Hey, I'm ADOS. Sometimes my life get hectic. I can't pop in here like that. Because being ADOS, you got to try to keep up with these bills and family and everything else. But I will try to be here next Sunday to give you another show. I may do a pop-up show through the week. I got something I want to touch on through the week. But I may do a little 15-minute show maybe Wednesday to touch on it. But as always, remember, if they can trick you, they can trap you. And for all soldiers, your first battlefield is your own mind. But in order to have your own mind, you must free your mind. Hey, take it as one and grow on. Watch the close out. You'll see some where you can follow some of the ADOS things they got going on and join some of the ADOS chapters here in your local area. All right, fam. We out. Stay strong, stay focused. Keep the line moving forward. We out of here.